Hello YouTube, Elita Legionnarii here, bringing you I guess is my review of the current patch 7 or build 1.7.0. So the 7th patch up for Rome 2. And to be honest, I've got more complaints with this patch than I have positives. I think it's a step back from patch 6 from what I've seen. There are a few good things, but there are some bad things, but I'm going to sort of go over all of them. So for that to happen, I need to do a custom battle. So here's a setup I've been working with here, okay? So I'm just going to bring, as you can see, I've brought 2 African elephants, 4 scythe chariots, and several Galatian royal guards, 6 Galatian royal guard, and then I'll bring 4 Ptolemaic cav. This is probably something you're going to see quite a bit of online in the hands of players who don't really care about playing fairly at the moment. So we'll just go with that, I think. I'll toss in a camel archer too, because they're always quite handy, at least they were on the previous patches. So there's my army there, and I will face an army of just Praetorian Guard. That is, what's that? That's 15 units Praetorian Guard. So, okay, so 15 units of Praetorian Guard is going to be no easy thing to crush open. But you're going to see, I'm going to be testing the elephants and chariots, what the current patch has done to them. So let us just start this up and see how we go. And I just want to demonstrate to you, what I think is probably the biggest issue in this new patch Rome 2 right now. It's in my opinion, it needs to be addressed very rapidly and fixed, because whoever did this obviously wasn't thinking about the game very much, because they've completely unbalanced it, like really desperately unbalanced it. So let's just grab chariots, 4 chariots, and the 2 elephants, put them here like so, and then I'll just stick my Galatian royal guards and my other cav units back, whatever, leave them be for now. So anyway, so let's just bring these 4 chariots up, let's bring these elephants up, just put them onto melee and to flaming arrows for the morale effect, which is probably what most people will try and do. And let's just have the Galatian royal guards steadily coming up there, same with the rest of the cav. So that's 15 Praetorian Guard, so it's going to be pretty nasty. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm not even going to tactically think, I'm just going to charge in like a complete new player who's never played a Total War game in their life. That is what I'm going to do right now. So I'm just going to wait for them a bit closer there. So because you want my elephants right behind to get the maximum effect. So let's just charge in all along the line, and let's just bull charge the elephant straight up the centre. So let's just have a look to see what kind of damage these do. Now if I did this on patch 6, I suspect I'd last about 10 seconds before my whole chariots would be completely destroyed by this. I might cause a bit of disruption, but I'd lose them instantly. So let's see. Look at this. If you look at this, the chariots just run straight through. Look at that. They just rip straight through the line. The elephants now, they can just trample. And I can just turn the chariots around. I can come back in. I can send the elephants in at will, and let's just bear in mind, I haven't even sent my Galatian royal guards in, and we all know how strong they are. So let's just look at this. I'm disrupting an entire army with 6 units. Look at this field. Look at it. Look at all these dead Praetorians, and look at them. They're all routing. They're all running, and I'm only losing 1. I've lost 1 chariot and nearly about to lose an elephant. Look at that. Look at that. Half that army's destroyed. I haven't even used my cavalry, haven't even used my infantry. This is absurd. Look, and I'm not really even microing them, I'm just leaving them in the fight. I could push them around and push them through more and all that. So, look at that. I just routed that entire Roman army with 4 chariots and 2 elephants. And I still had 6 full Galatian royal guard, 4 Ptolemaic cavalry who didn't even engage, and a camel archer. So how do they explain that? Let's look. 218. This elephant didn't do quite as well, but usually they do more than that. 285, 208, 191, 171. How is that feasible? Look, I had 6 Galatian Royal Guards and 4 Ptolemaic Cav who didn't even have to move an inch, pretty much. I could have left them at the start line if I wanted to. And look, top kills for the Praetorians, 8, 2, 5, 6. This is absurd. And Praetorians have actually been made better in the current patch. They're actually better in my opinion, though, because they no longer have to use formation attack. They're actually better. They can beat Oathsworn. You know, you can do this to Oathsworn with very similar results. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. It's like chariots are just unstoppable. Elephants are unstoppable. They can just run straight through a line, no matter how thick it is, and completely breach it. And like, people say bring pikes, and yes, pikes do a better job, but the pikes have to be in very deep, kind of 6 to 8 men deep formations. Elephants will still run it through. If you put enough pressure on the centre, you'll break through. Most people put their pikes in about 4 and 3 rows deep, which is never good, and chariots can go straight through it, even like Hellenic Royal Guard and stuff. This is a big problem that needs to be fixed immediately, because this is just completely wrecked the balance of the game. I do no idea why they did this. This is really stupid. I mean, elephants and chariots, in my opinion, on patch 6 were good. Like, they could dish out lots of damage if you used them right, but if you used them wrong, they were like died instantly. And that's exactly how they should be. But now they're just ridiculous. Like, I did a test the other night. I had 2 units of the Seleucid Indian armoured elephants. I'd also like to point out, these are just the Indian elephants. I mean, the African elephants, not the Indian ones, which are even stronger. And I used the Seleucid armoured elephants, and I did it against the same army of Rome, and the Romans got here, and one of them got 800 kills, and the other one got 500, and I destroyed the entire army with 2 elephants. It's absurd. I could have brought 2 more elephants if I'd wanted, just 2 regulars. How do you justify that? I mean, what were they thinking? Did they even test it? It's ridiculous. So that is like a seriously big problem. Like, it's just absolutely nasty. I mean, it's going to completely ruin the game. So, you know, chariots and elephants were fun units to put into your armies, but if you use them now, you're just going to be like an OP spammer. Everyone's going to rage at you. I mean, I will not host games with these units allowed anymore until this is fixed, because if they just bull charge my army like that, even if I somehow beat them, which you can do, they're still going to have like 6 Galatian Royal Guards. Or if they do it with the Seleucids, they could have a bunch of Hellenic cataphracts, or silver shield pikemen, or silver shield swordsmen, shield bearers. They could have lots of things. Royal Belters, same with Egypt. I mean, even if you did it with Pontus, if you did it with Pontus, you bring in a bunch of Pontic swordsmen and then bronze shield pikemen, which would easily clean up whatever was left. And then, of course, it works with the Iceni chariots, not quite as effectively, but still very effectively. And you'd have swordmasters. I mean, heroic nobles to take up the slack, and heroic riders. You're just going to absolutely dominate it. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's, as far as I'm concerned, until they fix this, chariots are just like, particularly chariots, but same with elephants, they're broken. You can't use them. You can't use them fairly anymore. And it's just completely ruined the game. It's absolutely shocking. It's absurd. And the next thing I want to address is that pikes have been severely weakened to a drastic point. And I'm going to demonstrate what I mean here. So let me just get Egypt again as my enemy though this time. And as we all know, the Hellenic Royal Guard was the best pike unit in the game, and if you ever charged it from the front with anything, even the other pike units, you always lost. Like foot companions and and silver shield pikemen could do quite a bit of damage, but the Hellenic Royal Guard always won. But you could not charge an Oathsworn, you could not charge a Praetorian Guard, you could not charge Galatian Royal Guard, you cannot charge Royal Thorax Swords and Royal Peltas and frontally into one of these things and expect to come out with anything left. You might take about 20 of them and you're all gone. Well, I'm going to demonstrate to you another thing, what's been done. So let me just show you how bad this has gotten by this patch, okay? I'm going to bring Legionary Cohort, a unit that is 610 denarii, versus a unit that is 970. So 6 of those is going to cost you just short of 6,000, right? 6 of these is going to cost you about 2,400, or just over 2,000. Perhaps just a bit, yeah, about 2,400. Yeah, so you got 6. That's a humongous difference. There's a humongous difference. Sorry, I got my maths wrong there, guys. Sorry, 6 of these guys is, let's see, what is that? What is my count there? Yeah, it is around about 6,000. Sorry, it's about sorry, I was right there. It'd be in the 5,000 marker because they're 970. So if they were 1,000 each, you have 6, then it'd be 6. Sorry, I'm getting my maths tied there. So yeah, it'll be probably 5,500. Whereas if you got 6 of these guys here, it's going to cost you just over a couple of thousand. So what's that? That's like a third the price. Let me demonstrate what you can do with them. So I'll bring 6 of these guys, and I'm going to charge them frontally. Okay, I'm going to charge frontally. Okay, so let's just start this. So looking at this from our previous experiences with Rome 2, we'd look at this and think, well, he's got no show if he's going to charge them frontally. I mean, the strongest pipe unit in the game versus an average infantry unit. So let's just see what happens. So let's just grab our guys and let's do some interesting thing now. This ability formation attack it's been turned into an ability to turn off and on. Now I like that. I like that because units that used formation attack didn't fight properly. Only half the unit engaged while the back of the unit continually held formation, and it meant units like Galatian Royal Guard, Oathsworn, or any unit that didn't have it always beat a unit that did have it unless there was a humongous difference in stats. So if you did this with a Praetorian Guard with it on versus an Oathsworn, the Oathsworn always won. But when you turn it off, the Praetorian Guard can beat the Oathsworn. It's still very close because they're both very good units. But I like that I turn this on and off. But I'm going to demonstrate. I'll turn that off, and I'm going to actually go into loose spacing. You're probably thinking, what in the heck's he doing? But trust me, this is actually something that I've watched other players do, and I just wanted to demonstrate it myself. So you stretch yourself out really thin. So you're about 4 deep. 4 deep, okay? Right. And all I'm going to do is just go into a group because I want to maintain that. And first, before I actually charge or anything like that, well, actually I'll go to slow motion because that gives me time. Let me just look. Let's look at this Hellenic Royal Guard. Some of you may not notice, but to notice is that they're spread out more. Like they're not as tightly packed in like they used to be. So this patch has basically made the phalanxes much more gaps and stuff in them, and this basically means at the front of the phalanx there is not as much pike work getting done because there's not as much pressure on individual points. So those of you who like noob boxing, and I mean I certainly am glad that the noob box can be broken now, but not in this way. But I'm going to demonstrate this. I'm using a very low quality, like not a low quality, but a very average quality unit versus a very elite unit that in the past would absolutely annihilate these units in just seconds. So let's go to triple speed, just to get things going a bit quicker. Right, and I'll just go back to slow so I can organise this. So just individually charge each one from the front. I'm not going to do any flanking, which is what I would normally have had to have done on the previous patches. I'm just going to charge in and try and see if I can win. Right, so let's go to high speed. Let's bring my general up and demonstrate that I won't even need to use his abilities to rally my men. So let's just wait for the AI to go into phalanx here, and I can probably better demonstrate these gaps that I was talking about just a moment ago when they go into phalanx. Okay, they better go into phalanx. They did in my previous test with this. I hope they do, because I can't do it properly if they don't. Here we go. Look at the gaps. Look how spread out they are. So here I go. And I'm really spread thin and in loose formation, I mind you. But you watch what these Roman infantry do. Look what's happened. They pin on the front and they start wrapping on the sides. They start wrapping around the sides. This is what urban cohort or any infantry did in Rome 1. But look at it, look. They're holding on the front, and without formation attack on, look what they do. They wrap the phalanx up. I actually quite like that they do that, but the fact that the phalanxes no longer have any ability to repel this is just absurd. Let's look at these guys. Look, this Hellenic Royal Guard here is down to 92. This unit's got 111, and this is only a legionary cohort. Look at this, they're completely getting encircled. I mean, look, they're going to break they'll break, like my units, and these are legionary cohorts. I'm not like, if I did this with the Praetorian Guard, if I did this with an armor legionnaire, if I did Evocati, I did it with those, I'd be just ripping them to shreds in moments. This is a medium to low quality unit. When they're condensed together in a line like this, I'm guessing the same trick that used to work on Rome 1, where there's no gaps in the line, would probably work here. That might be the only way to avoid this, because where it's happening here, it's proving not difficult. But look, the Hellenic Royal Guard's breaking. The Hellenic Royal Guard's going to break against Legionary Cohort. Against Legionary Cohort, a low level unit. Let's see, so there's one going already. Over here, look at this. They're just holding out the front, ripping into the side. Look, there's the general he's about to break. He's dead. Look at that, dead. Here's another one going. Not one of mine is broken yet. Not one. Not one. Look at this. And now I can completely outflank if I want. I don't even need to do that. I'm just going to charge them there. But I didn't use the whip or anything to boost their morale. Well, I mean, boost their, sorry, not morale. I forget what it does. Their attack power and fatigue and all that. Stop, to give them basically more aggression on the field. But look at this. And if you look at the numbers, I've still got half my men in this medium to low quality infantry. Well, it's not low quality, but medium infantry versus an elite pike. And I mean the most elite pike unit in the game. Hellenic Royal Guard are the most elite pike unit in this game, without a doubt. And I didn't use any abilities. They used abilities. They got boosts from their general. You can see. Oh, sorry, that's phalanx formation, my bad. But even if they did, I don't think it would make a difference. I really don't. Look at this. Look at this. I just devastated that entire thing and I still got half my men left. This unit here didn't take... Look, it lost like hardly any men. So let's have a look at the stats there. It says close victory. I don't think so. Look at this. Look, 111, 88, 94, 67, 96, 94. And look at these guys, 47, against a unit, like a legionary cohort, which is a medium quality infantry, that is only 2/3 the price. Buying all of these has cost me about 24 or 2,500. Buying all of them would cost me nearly 6,000 denarii. Where's the cost effectiveness? It's ridiculous. I mean, and you could do this with, I guess it'd probably still work in tight formation, but it probably works better in loose formation. But imagine if I did that with the Praetorian Guard. I'd have it in moments. Seriously, I suppose that kind of counterbalances factions like Chariots, but how is this, proper? I mean, I like that they start kind of wrapping around the flanks. But a unit that's 610, versus a unit that's 970, has all that morale and all that, armour and health and, melee defence and all that, against a unit that's, got decent armour and morale and all that, but it's quite a lot worse as a general rule, does that well. I mean, I can't understand it. It's just nuts. It's just crazy. It's like, how are you going to stop this sort of thing being a big issue? It's like, and look, I mean, all these units here, I could have used veteran legionnaires, armour legionnaires, Evocati, first cohorts, eagle cohorts, Praetorians and Praetorian Guards. They're all better. All better, and they could have done that better than this unit. And there's no better pike unit than Hellenic Royal Guard. I mean, as I said, I like that you can take formation attack off. I like that they kind of wrap around like that. I like those things. But why did they loosen up the formation? If those Hellenic Royal Guards still had their base tight formation, that wouldn't happen. Maybe they'd do better from the front, but they wouldn't do as well as that. That is just nuts. So anyway, what I might do now though is a couple of things I like. Let's get a Galatian Royal Guard. And I'll get 2 Praetorians and that. I'll just get a second Praetorian. Actually, I'll get 2 Galatian Royal Guards, so I want to do a test here. And I will do just get a Legionnaire to get rid of that carrying axeman, because it's going to be in the way. But I'm not going to use them, it's just going to be the Praetorians we're going to be looking at here. So in the past, Praetorians would always lose to Galatian Royal Guards because of their formation attack. They were forced to stay in it, and it wrecked them. So let's just have a look now how much more effective it is without it as opposed to having it. So let's start. So obviously so far in this patch we've got things that are not good, but this is something I quite like. I like that you can take formation attack off. I think it's good. But I would prefer, like, it makes more sense if formation attack makes far more sense if formation attack is actually effective. So I'll turn it off on the right one, but I'll leave it on the left. This one I'm just going to turn off because I want to quickly knock it out. So let's start. Okay, so where are the Galatian Royal Guards? Right. Oh, forgot to. Let's just. Right. So I want to keep the same depth. Basically, that's what I'm doing here, guys. I want to keep the same depth. So Galatian Royal Guards were always considered the best infantry to use pretty much in the game, perhaps except for Oathsworn, but Galatians were always the unit I always had the most trouble with, and I'm pretty sure most of you would agree with me. Oathsworn weren't as deadly to deal with, probably because of the fact that, well, they were as deadly, but they didn't have quite as good a support like with other units. So, remember, the right units got off the formation attack, and the left one has it on. Unfortunately, I think the AI is going to interfere with it's going to interfere with us. I should have just done this with the Archery, I think. Right. But let's have a look. Yeah, that's kind of annoying because you can't trust the AI to do a good test. I should have thought that. Actually, I'll cancel this test and I'll just do it against the Archery because I know their general's units. I don't know why I didn't do this in the first place. It's just Oathsworn, so I don't need to worry about it mucking up on me. So apologies, guys, but that carrying axeman kind of interfered because it charged into my Praetorian and not my Legionnaire like I wanted to, so ignore that test because it got mucked up. I need it 1-for-1 without any interruptions. I wanted to do Galatians though, because Galatians, in my opinion, are probably, in the past, they've probably been the most used infantry, to be honest, in my opinion. So right will have it off and left will have it on. Okay, so let's move forward. Remember, both these units have, the Oathsworn don't have formation attack. They've never had a formation attack. So they always, basically what happened is they always sought out to fight. They always broke their formation up eventually just to push men into the fight and try and win it. So anyway, let's just speed things up a bit here. Begin running. So anyway, yeah, so they'll just continue to charge each other, and I'm just going to bring things up. So I'm going to begin charging now. So remember, the right one's got it off, and the left one has got it on. So let's just see the difference we get. So let's see. Okay, so they're going to engage, and immediately over here, this Praetorian that's got it on is down to 110. The one that has it off is actually also down to 110. That's interesting. That's because they used headhunt. Oops, didn't see that. I'll turn the whip on. That should help matters. So 111, 107. So these guys should get ahead. So while these guys are struggling to fight as well, these ones over here are significantly more aggressive, and the Oathsworn they're fighting are actually going down quite a bit. It seems like they might have made formation attack a bit better, however, because these ones are holding in there a little longer, which is unusual. in as of itself. So I'll just keep that going. And what have they got there? Was that the thing is, what makes Oathsworn difficult to test is because they have the ability to use use abilities like Headhunt and Frenzy, which gives them a bit of an advantage over the Praetorians, because the Praetorians only have the whip. So it does make it kind of difficult to test. So if we look over here, this unit's down to 37, this unit's only at 55. So interestingly enough, the formation attack unit's still doing quite a lot better than it would do on the old patches. So I guess they have improved it a bit, but it's no doubt that the unit that doesn't have formation attack on does better. Definitely. Like, this unit's lost more as well. And look, it's already routing, so you're better to have it off, because it's significantly better. Like, look at that. Look how quickly I win it. And I win it with 72 men left, whereas this one's going to win it with only 58, which is interesting. But what this also tells us is that the Roman infantry's obviously gotten a bit of a buffer, I think, which I haven't noticed as much, but they seem to be better, because I mean, if I'd done that in the previous patches, the Oathsworn would have, beat me for sure. But, you do it quicker, you do it with better numbers, and it's more decisive when you have it off. So I often think to myself, what's the point in formation attack? Like, sticking to historical accuracy, it's a good thing. Like historically, that's what made the Romans so good as infantry, is because they held their formation and had control, and they cycled men through the formation to give each other rests and stuff, and that made them last in battles for much longer than their enemies. But in Rome 2, turn it off. There's no reason fighting with it on. The only units I think you'd want to fight with it on are pikes, because they hold their formation. If the pikes break up their formation, they get worse. So I think with pikes you should leave it on, but with any sword infantry, turn it off. Any hoplite units, any spear infantry, when fighting against enemy cav, turn it off. They need to go after the units. They don't need to hold their formation like that. But they've definitely given it a buffer nonetheless, because it's stronger than it used to be. Because usually a Praetorian fighting in Oathsworn would lose. Would lose because of formation attack. But it's clear that having it off is definitely a far better choice, for sure. Far better choice. So, I don't think there's many other tests I need to do. Now, there are a few things that I'd like to point out. So let's go to Macedon. Just another couple of things. If you remember, archers were not always that effective, because they only had 125 range and far less armor-piercing abilities. So while some low-quality archers still only have that 125 range, the higher level ones like Cretans have the 150 range like the slingers, and they have the same level of armor-piercing damage. And they're overall got more missile damage. So that means units like Cretan archers, auxiliary Syrian archers, which got 150 and the high level of damage, in comparison to, say, like a Balearic slinger, which has still got quite a lot of damage. I'm just trying to think of what else. What else is there? I think some of the Parthian ones have that ability. The elite Persian archer, 150 range. Parthian foot archer, 150 range. Even the Persian light archers have the 150 range as well, actually. In all honesty, there too, actually looking at these stats, if we look here, I think it's probably more practical just to get some of these lower ones. You get them for 100 denarii cheaper, and they still do just as much. Although maybe the armor piercing is not as high. 4. Let's see, is it the same on here? Just check. 8. Okay, yeah, 8. So the high level ones have even more armor piercing damage. So, I mean, let's just actually test this. Let's get like 3 of these archers. And we'll just get like a Cataphractus, the general, of course. And then we'll get a bunch of what? I suppose we could get a bunch of Silver Shield pikemen. Very solid pike unit. Let's just get one of those. Let's see how quickly these guys can do it. Let's just do the test. I think, and I like this. The formation attack ability to turn it on and off, I like. It makes units like Roman infantry much better than they were. But the things like this, with these archers having longer range, more armor-piercing damage, that makes them more usable. I like that also. And if we look, they now possess heavy shot as well, and we all know how great heavy shot is. So if we turn heavy shot on, and we'll just see how quickly 3 units of these elite Persian foot archers can kill a unit of the Silver Shield pikemen. Let's just go to triple speed here. Let's just see how long it takes them to kill it. Because that's what this means is it's gonna make skirmishing more effective in Rome 2, which is a good thing because because in a lot of ways it was all about rushing in Rome 2. Everyone just rushed. So let's see, what kind of damage can we do? Let's see. So interesting. It's not doing as much as I thought it would. To be honest, I thought it'd do more. So maybe shields have got more value from the front. I don't know. Maybe heavy shots being weakened. But nonetheless, it still does quite a lot of damage. I've just been a little bit too early on my observation. So now they get the air. I think when they get the air, look at that. When they lose more men and when they get into phalanx formation, as they get closer as well, that is pretty devastating. So, actually no, I'll turn that off. So what's precision shot do now? Missile damage, might as well do that. Speed the process up. I think this tells us a lot more. Basically, it means archers are going to be even more effective probably than slingers were in the past, which I don't have a problem with. I always thought that it was kind of weird that slingers were so much better than archers. So there you go. So good concentrated missile fire on this archer fire on this patch is going to be very, very good. So it means skirmishing's back, and I like that because although I prefer rush armies probably because they're quicker, skirmishing was missing in Rome 2, so that is a good thing. So there's a couple of good things there, but some really bad stuff there as well. That chariot elephant problem needs to be fixed, and very quickly. And the ability to use such cheap units to out completely destroy phalanxes, even the most elite kind, really needs to be fixed. So definitely things that need to be addressed, and very quickly, because it's going to wreak multiplayer, I think. If you're a player who enjoys multiplayer, I'd suggest you just ban chariots and elephants, to be honest, because we saw what those elephants and chariots did to 15 Praetorian Guards, so, and the same thing can be said. It does the same to Oathsworn, does the same to Swordmaster, does the same to Heroic Nobles, it does the same to any infantry, does the same to Galatian Royal Guard, does the same to Royal Thorax Swordsmen. It's really bad. So anyway, guys, these are my thoughts and opinions on patch 7. I think it's got a couple of cool new additions, but it's got some serious things that have caused some bad unbalancing issues, so they need to be fixed and fast. That's my opinion. Tell me what you think. Write your comments down in the comments page there, and tell me what you think about the patch. It'll be interesting to see what you guys have come across. There might be more things in the patch that I haven't noticed yet, but it could be very interesting to see if you guys have noticed anything else. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you soon next time.